Hey there, everyone. My name is Ryan. Welcome to my channel. So this is all about data and analytics. I titled it Data Science, Straight Data Science, because I'm trying to tell you the straight truth, right? Like there's a lot of like ambiguity in the world, and a lot of like cloak and dagger, and you don't always know what the truth is, especially when you watch the news, guys. When you turn on the news, that it's filtered like you have no idea, right? You watch the Today Show, you watch Good Morning America, you watch Fox News. These are all filtered, right? You don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what's coming at you, right? Your brain just absorbs it and you take it as, um, the gospel truth, but it is not, right? It's been filtered many, many times, and they just have a certain agenda that they want to feed you. My channel is 100% about the truth. Okay, so anyways, the point is, originally, I was very focused on data science. I talked about countless data science topics, almost 400 now. I'm getting close to 400. So I think I'm going to take the channel in a slightly different direction, not do just data science. Maybe I'll touch on it a little bit. I've discussed so many different topics. I kind of like beat this horse to death. Like there's not too many more things I can talk about at this point. So I'm going to branch out and just make it a little bit more generalized. But I don't know if I'll change the name. I mean, still straight data science. I kind of like the name. If somebody proposes a better name, and I have some kind of affinity for that, maybe I'll change it. But for now, I'll just stick with that. But anyways, I want to do more generalized things around analytics and not just make it about data science. So in the narrative today, I want to talk about charting and plotting cities with the highest cost of living, and we're going to create vertical maps just to illustrate the point of which city has the highest cost of living. And you can see this very clearly and very visually, so it becomes very apparent very quickly what's going on in terms of the height of the bar, right? So the height of the bar determines the city. But I don't just want to create just a bar chart or a histogram or something like that. Those are fine. It's a little bit boring, but I think you can get creative with some of these things and really make it pop for the audience to really deliver the message, for the key stakeholders that you're working with, right? So I put together a list of tuples. This is a tuple when you have these curly braces separated by commas, when you have the square brace, square bracket, whatever it's called, brace bracket. I think it's the bracket. I think this is brace. So when you have this, then you have like an actual list of tuples. And when you get down here, when you have the colon separation down here, you have a dictionary. So we're working with different data types. So we have a list, we have a tuple, we have a dictionary, and eventually I think we actually convert this to a data frame. Yeah, we do, right? We actually convert it to a data frame. So we're working with 4 different data types in Python. So a lot of the things I do are data frames. I work with some dictionaries. I work with a lot of lists. Sometimes tuples. Tuples aren't my go-to favorite thing. But there's a time and a place for all these things, right? So we have 4 different data types, and we will leverage all 4 today. So I'm going to hit Control-Enter to run the cell. I'm going to share all this code with you so you have it, right? We're importing some basic libraries at the top. We have the list here with tuples inside. So we have New York, and we have the population, right? Now I have the original data source down here. If you go down here, you can see where this came from. So this comes from this list. I found this thing online recently. I thought it was kind of interesting. I kind of like just came up on my radar. So I just copied and pasted this. Continue with Google. I don't really want to sign in or sign up. I don't want to do all these things. So let me get out of here. Anyways, so you have, it keeps coming up. Okay, so I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do it because I don't like to sign into all these websites, and you get all this junk mail and your inbox is flooded with all this crap. But you have 1 and 100 cost of living index. San Francisco is 85.3. So if you go there, go ahead and sign in if you want. You don't have to do this. I gave you all the data, right? So you don't have to go through these hoops and jump through this insane rhetoric over here. So I gave you all this stuff that you need, right? All you have to do is Control-Enter to run the code, copy and paste it into your own Jupyter notebook and run the code. And we have the lat and long coordinates for all of these cities. So here's New York City 100, of course, that's the most expensive. And it goes back and forth. Like at some points, I think San Francisco was the most expensive. There was a lot of tech layoffs. Guys, there was hundreds of thousands of people laid off in the tech corridor, which is San Francisco to San Jose. I don't know why when they're recording record profits. I worked in finance for most of my career. For 20 something years, I was on Wall Street. You see record profits coming out of these companies, Google and Apple and whatever else is down there. There's a few of them, from Redwood City up to San Francisco and down to San Jose. There's a bunch of companies. Oracle is over there somewhere, um, recording record profits, and they're doing all these layoffs. So that's why the price of housing fell, or the living cost index, the living cost of index, living cost, whatever it's called, the cost of index of living or something. That's why it fell down, right? Because there's all these layoffs, housing prices are plummeting, and people just can't afford to live there anymore because they have no income. It's a basic economic scenario, right? You pay me, I can go out to dinner, I can go out get my groceries, I can go out and have a nice drink with my friends, I can travel a little bit, um, engage in some leisure activities. If I have no income, I can't recycle my money into the economy, right? And things are going to collapse, right? So that's what's happening on the West Coast right now. But I think San Francisco used to outpace New York. Now New York is more expensive. Anyways, so that's a long story short. So you have the whole cost of living index over here. You have the rank in the city and the lat-lon coordinates, right? So I set all this up for you. All you have to do is copy and paste it. So here's the code. It's just a setup again. You have your list over here with tuples in between. You have your dictionary over here, right? And you convert everything to a data frame. So a data frame is the fourth data type that you deal with in Python. So you can see right here, it's kind of rows and columns, a little bit like a spreadsheet, not really a spreadsheet and not really like a table in a database, but the appearance is somewhat similar, right? So you have the rank, city index, lat-lon coordinates. So we're going to take this and go ahead and convert this into a plotly chart right here. I created a small UDF. This is a user-defined function, and we have all the zip coordinates over here. All right, if I go over here and put this over here into a new link, we can download the zip file. We're just going to grab that and fetch that dynamically. I'm just trying to make it easy for everybody, right? You can actually download this and read this and interpret this from your desktop if that's your thing. I think it's easier just to go to the web and fetch it and just pull that in into the work stream here that we're working with. But this is the data right here that we're looking at, right? So I have shape files. I've discussed this in a couple of my other videos when I'm doing plotting and charting and using lat-lon coordinates, right? So you have the data frame with the lat-lon, the index, and the function over here, right? And we're looking at the differences between the different lat-lon coordinates and then trying to plot this on the map using Plotly. So Plotly is one of my favorite tools. I discovered this, I don't know when, a while back, maybe 10 years ago, whatever it is. I don't know how long it's been out. I've kind of stumbled upon this kind of at the beginning when it first came out. Let me just take you through a quick tutorial over here. Plotly, graphene, and they have all kinds of very interesting, dynamic, very powerful types of graphs, right? So you can see some of the things over here. Here's just a small sample, and they show you sample code too, which is nice because you can literally copy and paste the code into your notebook and run it, and you have to modify it almost guaranteed. It's not going to run just out of the box like that, but with very tiny modifications, you can go ahead and run that and get some very cool, very interesting interactive plots. So here's maps. You have maps over here. This is the one that I'm leveraging right now. If you zoom in, you can see the details here. This is China, right? This is another Plotly chart over here. And this one is pretty interesting, right? The size of the bubble shows you the population, I think. I think the population is correlated to the size of the bubble. We have to look over here. Size, let me do Control F. Size, okay, that is fine. Yep. Size is over here. Oh, population divided by scale. Okay, so I have a certain scale over here, and the scale is, let me see what that is. Oops. Oh, the scale is 5,000. So you're dividing by 5,000. But you can see how it works, right? You copy and paste the code. It's pretty easy to interact with these things. And you can easily create your own chart right here that shows you, okay, it's running right now. It shows you the relationship of the cost of living. That's what we're looking at, cost of living. New York is the highest, it's 100, right? And it goes down to, what was the cheapest? Dallas? Yeah, 57. So living in Dallas is almost half the cost of living in New York City. And you have the latitude, longitude coordinate. I only have the top 20 here, but it's good enough to illustrate the point here. So Dallas is like 57. You see the height of the bar of the chart corresponds to the cost of living, right? And you have a nice outlay. I guess this is upside down now. You have a nice outlay of the United States and the cost of living for each of these charts. And because it's plotly, it's very dynamic and interactive. So I can zoom in. I see Denver, Colorado. If I go down here, this should be Dallas down here, I think. If I zoom in, does it say, oh, there it is. There's Dallas, okay. And I like these controls on the left-hand side. You can click these on and off, and you can see the change over here too, right? So here's New York. I can click that off. I can click it on, and you can see the change on the graph, right? So it's very dynamic and very interactive. I like these charts a lot. And you can zoom in and see all the lat-lon coordinates and the outline of the United States. So I thought that was pretty cool. I tried to level this up just a little bit, just to get a little more clarity, a little bit more definition around this. So I came up with this. I'm going to share all this code with you guys. You don't have to worry about all the details here. You have the X, Y. These are the XY coordinates. The X is the horizontal, Y is the vertical, and the Z is the third dimension, right? That's how we can rotate this and move this around in different ways and different formats and create the outline of the United States, and then the plots for each of these coordinates right here. This is the one for New York, right? That's the most expensive cost of living. So this I thought was pretty interesting. I played around. I got rid of the top layer. I thought that was kind of interesting, maybe from some perspectives, but a little bit confusing too, right? Because you have a lot of stuff going on here. So I got rid of the top layer in this graph down here. And I think this is a very nice graph that shows you the cost of living. This is Dallas, Texas. When you zoom in, you can zoom here, right? And you can see all the details. This is Dallas, Texas is 58, and New York City is 100, and Seattle is 75. If you go back to the original data, you can see literally the same thing. This is 100, Seattle is 75. All right, and Dallas is the cheapest one on this list, 57.5 cost of living. So I think that's pretty nice. That definitely pops off the screen, and it shows the showcases the ability of Plotly to create these maps. And for your the end user here, your audience that you're engaging with, it shows them what's going on. But I thought maybe we can just create like a little bit more definition, so we can create some boundaries for different states in the United States, right? I think that will add a little bit of excitement to this kind of chart, and add a little bit more dimension and creativity, and just a little bit more like, refinement or more definition to the chart. So I came up with another way to add in all the state borders and still tell the same story. So here's Washington, all right, or Seattle, Washington, all right, named after George Washington. Here's Dallas, Texas, same number, 57.5. Here is New York City, 100. Boston is 81.2. If I go back to the original data, I can see that over here. Boston is 81.2 right there, and I can see that in the data frame as well. So 81.2, that is the third most expensive city. San Francisco is 85.3. That comes from here. 85.3 was the data source, so 85.3. If I go down here, San Francisco is going to be 85.3. That's San Jose. SF is over here. Where's my SF? Okay, that's why I switched over to the other graph. This one is good, but it could be better. And that's why I made the switch. 85.3, there's SF. But if you go down here, it's pretty well defined for you. 85.3 is SF, right? And you have down here Miami. What's this? Tampa, New Orleans. I know that was that expensive, but okay, that's fine. Denver is 62.4. Again, here's the data source. And you also need the GCP API key to render this last map. So the first two maps are totally free. You don't have to do anything. This last map is actually free too, but you do have to set up Google Console cloud API key. So I can't run this because you would need the key. You have to put your key in over here. API key goes right there, right? But if you just Google it, like over here, Google console. If you've never done this before, you can set this up for free. I did this back, so I have my own key. And you go down here to APIs and services. So you have all your API keys down here. You need a Google Maps API key. Once you do this, it's totally free to set up. If you do a lot of queries and a lot of work with API keys, they will charge you. You have to put in your credit card, but it's pretty cheap, guys. It's like pennies to do all kinds of requests. If you want to say, what's the best restaurants in this neighborhood, or, where are the local, who knows what, movie theaters or dry cleaning or something, right? They have all kinds of different API requests that you can make, and you might have to pay a little money for that, but it's pennies. It's very, very cheap. You do have to go ahead and set up the API key once you have maps. Here's mine. So I have several APIs set up, right? Pick the one that's appropriate for you and put that into here, and this will work as is. I'm going to give you all the code. If you zoom out a little bit, you actually see Hawaii over here on the side. So Honolulu is 78.5. If we go back to the original data, 78.5. Where is this? 78.5 is Honolulu. Never been to Honolulu. I'd like to go someday. So there's your data source, right? And it came originally from that website I just showed you. So go down here and you see Honolulu. Okay, 78.5, and all the others are plotted over here. So that's it, guys. That's it. That's the whole narrative here. Charting and plotting cities with the highest cost of living using Plotly and Google Maps API. So hopefully this was educational and informational. I like to do these things. I like to showcase the power of Python. I've been doing this for I think like 12 years now, 12, 13 years, going on 13. And I like the analytics. I like the challenge. I like to say, okay, so here's the highest cost of living. How can we plot this on a chart of the United States? How can we do this? How can we execute? How can we deliver the message to the key stakeholders, right? I have stakeholders that want to know, and this map delivers. It pops. It tells the message, right? You know what the highest cost of living is. The only thing I would say is maybe make this a little bit more, scaled. Like these look like a little bit kind of similar height. Like obviously this is 57. This is 100, so this is almost double what this is, right? Maybe you can make a scale and kind of up the factor for New York City and downplay Dallas. Like Dallas is almost half the price, and this is relative to this, right? So it is working. It's doing exactly what I told it to do. If I had to change it, maybe that's the only thing I would consider. I didn't actually try that. But maybe that would be kind of tricking the audience too. If you make this bar 4 times higher than this bar, which is really supposed to be 2 times higher, is that really manufacturing the outcome and tricking people and kind of deceiving people, and then people get desperate to move out of New York City. They say it's too expensive to live there. Maybe that's going too far, right? Maybe it's too much and it's too far. So it does exactly what it's supposed to do. If you really wanted to amplify this, you could say New York City is double the price and maybe quadruple this thing, but then you're kind of misrepresenting the data too. So I don't know if I would take it that far, but that might be one change that might kind of illustrate the point a little bit more. But then you get into the point of misrepresentation and was it bearing false witness? That's what the Bible teaches us, right? Bearing false witness or lying to people. So I don't know if I would make this 4 times bigger than this because it's really twice. But if you really want to say New York is very expensive, I guess you could add in a factor that amplifies the higher numbers and depreciates the lower numbers. I suppose you could do that. That might be one way to go with this. But then you have to disclose that to your audience too, okay? So anyways, that's it. I think we achieved the goal here. Charting and plotting cities with the highest cost of living using Plotly and Google Maps, guys. That's it, Google Maps. So that's it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this thing to the end. I appreciate that. I really do. Please hit the subscribe button. And please like the video. That helps my channel's analytics. I'm trying to use this to create some stream of income. I lost my job 18 months ago and haven't found anything yet since then. So a little bit weird time to be living in the United States of America. I don't know what's going on in this country. I don't know what this country is doing. I don't know what the country or the politicians are doing in this country. But definitely weird and bizarre, and definitely like it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, guys. What's going on in the world today doesn't make any sense. So that's it. I'm gonna cut it off right here. I want to get political and like go down that whole path down there. That's very dangerous and that's very dumb as well. So that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I will post the video. I'll post all the source code so you have everything that you need to recreate this environment, this Jupyter Notebook environment. And I'm gonna wrap up the video right now. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye for now.